Welcome to another episode of series Raji's Cuisine. Today we will be making spiced basmati rice with fruit and pine nuts. Basically, this is a typical recipe that most of us use for biryanis or any of these uh, rice items, that rice dishes that we make. So this is a very classic, very rich, and she says it can be served with any meat dish, or it's a perfect side dish for any of these meat spiced dish. And Raji also suggests that if you just eliminate onions and garlic in it, you can make a sweet dish out of it. So I'm really curious. Most of our spices are used, it's very simple recipe, but the only added thing is pine nuts and raisins that she's used in this. So all the spices like cinnamon, cardamom, and cloves are all whole spices that she's used, and most of these spices are never eaten, so you can keep them on the side, or some of us actually mix them in powder form so that it's very healthy for you, so you could eat those spices. So let's look at the ingredients needed for spiced basmati rice with pine nuts and fruit. Ingredients needed for our spiced basmati rice with fruit and pine nuts. 2 cups of basmati rice, rinsed and drained. 2.5 cups of water. Half cup of coconut milk. 1/4 cup of dried apricots nicely diced. 1/4 cup of golden raisins nicely washed. Half cup of pine nuts. 1 teaspoon of turmeric, salt to taste. Half an inch of cinnamon, 3 cloves, and 3 pods of cardamom. 3 teaspoons of ghee. Half tablespoon of ginger, minced ginger, and 1/4 tablespoon of minced garlic. I've taken 1 large clove of garlic and minced it. Onions chopped, half cup. Take a heavy bottom saucepan, add ghee to it on medium heat. To this, add onions, ginger and garlic. Add cinnamon, cloves and cardamom pods and nicely saute this. Saute this for 5 minutes till nicely brown on medium heat. Our onions are nicely browned. Now we are going to add turmeric and rice to this. The turmeric, now rice, and let it saute for like 3 minutes till the rice becomes shiny. Nicely mix it and saute for 3 minutes till each of this grain rice becomes shiny. You can see it actually. And that rice is nicely sauteed, and you see it's like nice and shiny. Now we are going to add salt, water, and coconut milk, and increase the heat to high so that we can bring this to boil quickly. I added some salt after tasting the seasoning, and now we are going to bring this to boil quickly. The rice is coming to boil. Now we are going to cover this once it comes to boil and reduce the heat to low and let it cook for 10 minutes on low heat. You're going to cover this up. So it's almost ready. See, it's boiling. So I'm going to reduce the heat and cover it up and let it cook for 10 minutes. The rice is cooking. I'm going to saute, toast the pine nuts without any oil. Just toast it for a couple of minutes in a nice saute pan. Our pine nuts are nicely toasted. Remove it from the heat and keep it on the side. Our rice is nicely cooked for 10 minutes. Now we are going to put our apricots and raisins and mix it thoroughly, and again cover the lid. Don't open the lid in the middle, and cook for another 10 minutes. I nicely stirred in the raisins and apricots. Now we are going to cover this up again for 10 minutes on low heat. We're going to cook. Don't open the lid in the middle to check, so it will be good. So let's cover it up, and it's on low heat and going to be cooked for 10 more minutes. The smell of the cardamom and the cinnamon, and it's so aromatic, and the ghee, ginger, garlic is really smelling really so good. This is cooked for 10 minutes. Now remove it from the heat and let it rest for 5 minutes. Don't open the lid with the lid closed. So it's going to rest for 5 more minutes, and then we are going to stir in our pine nuts and should be ready to be served in 5 minutes. We waited for 5 minutes and rice is nicely done. Now we are going to stir in the pine nuts. Our rice is ready to be served. We can take it into a serving dish. The smell is amazing. Spiced basmati rice with fruit and nut is ready. I have taken it into a nice serving dish and placed it in a nice pot. The aromas of all the spices is amazing. You can actually remove the whole spices if you want, or you can also leave them in, but just don't eat them if you don't want to eat it. Our spiced basmati rice with fruit and pine nuts is ready to be served. Enjoy.